Ladies, let me tell you something right now. If you want a man to chase you, not just for a moment, but for a lifetime, you don't need to play games. You need to understand power, the power of knowing your worth. See, there's a big difference between attracting a man and keeping him chasing you. That's not about looks. That's not about what you're wearing or what you post online. That's about how you carry yourself, how you set your standards, and how you walk in your value without apologizing for it. Let's get one thing straight. Men don't chase what's easy. Men chase what is valuable. If you act like every man who gives you attention is doing you a favor, he'll never feel the need to put in work. But if you act like you're the blessing, the prize, the table, and the meal, you flip the script. Suddenly, he knows, if I don't step up, I'll lose her. So how do you act to get chased forever? First, act unavailable to nonsense. Stop entertaining situations. Stop giving free time to half-hearted energy. Don't be afraid to say, this doesn't work for me. The moment you show a man that you don't settle for bare minimum, you separate yourself from the crowd. You show him you're not desperate. You show him you choose. You're not waiting to be chosen. Second, act like your life is full, because it should be. A woman with a purpose, with passions, with goals, with joy, that's a woman who's magnetic. Men chase women who are hard to impress because they want to be the one to impress her. When your world is rich and full with or without a man, he's going to want to earn a spot in that world. But when you drop everything for him, your time, your energy, your friends, he starts taking you for granted. Third, act with standards, not attitudes. There's a difference. You don't need to scream, argue, or prove your worth. A woman with standards communicates them calmly. She doesn't react emotionally when someone steps out of line. She just steps away. And when a man knows you won't stick around for mistreatment, he either steps up or steps out. Either way, you win. Fourth, act like you know the game, but you don't play it. See, a smart woman sees through manipulation, mixed signals, breadcrumbing, all of it. But instead of playing the same game back, she removes herself. She doesn't lower herself to the level of confusion. She says, if you want me, act like it. If not, keep it moving. That level of clarity is rare, and men chase rare. And finally, act like you're not afraid to be alone. Because when a woman is content by herself, she becomes unstoppable. Men can smell desperation from a mile away. But independence, self-respect, that's intoxicating. When you know that you're enough, even without a man, he knows he better bring something real to the table. So here's the truth. You don't chase love. You attract it. You don't force a man to stay. You inspire him to stay by being the kind of woman who walks in confidence, kindness, purpose, and peace. And when you act like this, when you refuse to settle, when you live in your power, when you love yourself fully, he won't just chase you for a moment. He'll chase you forever. Because a man can't forget the woman who knew her worth and never let him forget it either. When you decide to be unavailable to nonsense, you're making a powerful declaration about your self-worth. You're no longer accepting crumbs and calling it a meal. You're not tolerating emotional confusion, half-effort communication, or inconsistent energy from someone who expects full access to you. That kind of clarity is rare, and it instantly commands respect. Men will always test boundaries, whether consciously or unconsciously, and it's not because they're evil or manipulative. It's because people naturally want to know what they can get away with. But when you respond with firm, silent standards instead of desperation or emotional pleas, you show that you are not easily shaken. See, too many women get caught in this trap of thinking they need to prove something to a man. They tolerate disrespect or indifference, hoping that if they just love harder, give more, stay longer, he'll finally see their value. But that's not how real love or real pursuit works. A man who sees that you accept low effort will keep giving you low effort. Why would he invest more when you've already shown him he doesn't need to? Being unavailable to nonsense means you don't give someone the opportunity to waste your time twice. If his words don't match his actions, if he disappears and comes back with no explanation, if he's inconsistent or manipulative, you cut the access. No arguing, no begging, just silence and distance. Men are wired to pursue. That's not just a cliche, that's a reality. When something is easily accessible all the time, it doesn't inspire pursuit. But when something is valuable, when it has boundaries, when it's not available on demand, it forces a man to evaluate how much he's willing to invest. And the truth is, not every man will step up. But that's a blessing, not a loss. The right man will recognize your boundaries as a sign of maturity and strength, not an obstacle. He will rise to meet them, not try to lower them, and the ones who walk away when you enforce your standards, let them go. They were never going to give you what you deserve anyway. Being unavailable to nonsense also means healing the parts of you that were okay with it in the past. It's one thing to say you won't accept disrespect. It's another to truly believe that you're worthy of better. That belief shows up in the way you carry yourself, in the way you speak, in how you allow people to treat you. You don't have to announce it to the world. Your energy will speak for itself.
You won't be swayed by sweet talk, love bombing, or empty apologies. You'll be watching for consistency. You'll be listening for alignment between actions and words. And when something feels off, you'll trust yourself enough to walk away. Let's be clear, being unavailable to nonsense doesn't mean being rude, cold, or bitter. It means being wise. It means valuing your time, your peace, and your heart. It means recognizing red flags and choosing not to paint them white. It's having the courage to walk alone until someone comes who truly aligns with your standards. It's refusing to dim your light or shrink your worth for someone who isn't ready to match your energy. And when a man sees that you are not moved by shallow effort or fake chemistry, when he sees that you're not desperate to be chosen, he will either elevate or eliminate himself, and either way you win. When you stop making excuses for other people's behavior, you start making space for someone who will never put you in a position to question where you stand. But that only happens when you draw the line. When you say, I will not participate in confusion. When you make it clear that your attention, your time, your energy is earned, not handed out freely just because someone is available. That mindset alone will separate you from most. That mindset will make a man not only chase you, but respect you, admire you, and strive to be worthy of you. In a world full of people who are afraid to be alone, who settle just to feel wanted, your ability to be unavailable to nonsense will set you apart. It will make you unforgettable. Because men don't remember the woman who was always available, always forgiving, always accepting the bare minimum. They remember the one who walked away with grace and never looked back. The one who didn't have to scream or beg to be seen. The one who knew her value and didn't entertain anything that didn't reflect it. That's the kind of woman who gets chased, not for a moment, but for a lifetime. Having a full life of your own is one of the most attractive qualities a woman can possess. When your life is rich with purpose, joy, ambition, and independence, it sends a clear message. You are whole on your own. That energy is magnetic. Men are drawn to women who don't make a relationship the center of their universe, but rather an addition to an already fulfilling life. This doesn't mean you're cold or uninterested in love. It simply means you're not waiting around for it to define you. When a man sees a woman who wakes up with goals, who is passionate about her interest, who nurtures her friendships, who keeps herself mentally and emotionally growing, he understands that being in her life is a privilege. He knows she's not sitting around waiting for a text or shaping her entire day around whether or not he gives her attention. And that reality stirs something in him. It makes him want to be part of her world, not just temporarily, but permanently. A woman with a full life doesn't just talk about her standards, she lives them. She's focused on her career, her purpose, her growth, and her peace. She sets aside time for herself. She prioritizes her own well-being, and she understands that her happiness isn't dependent on someone else showing up. That kind of self-containment is rare, and men recognize it immediately. A man who's serious about love and partnership sees this and feels compelled to rise up to her level. He wants to be someone who adds value to a life that's already thriving. It's also about emotional balance. When you have a full life, you're less likely to overinvest in a man who hasn't yet proven himself. You're not clinging to every interaction or reading too deeply into mixed signals, because you're too busy building, living, and loving the life you've created. That detachment isn't cold, it's healthy. It protects you from being emotionally consumed by someone who may or may not be serious. It gives you the patience and clarity to observe rather than obsess. And that's exactly what makes a man take you seriously. Many women fall into the trap of revolving their lives around a man once he shows interest. They cancel plans with friends, they stop doing the things they love, and slowly their world begins to shrink. That kind of dependence creates pressure. It doesn't create desire. But when you stay grounded in your life, when you continue to flourish no matter what stage the relationship is in, he sees that you're not afraid to live fully with or without him. And that scares off the wrong ones and inspires the right one to pursue you even more. Men want to feel like they're earning something special. And when your life is already full, he knows he has to bring more than charm to the table. He has to bring consistency, loyalty, emotional intelligence, and long-term intention. Because you're not sitting around lonely, waiting to be saved. You've already saved yourself. You've already built your peace. And now you're simply open to sharing it with the right person, not giving it away to just anyone. Also, let's not forget what having a full life does for you, aside from relationships. It makes you more joyful, more radiant, more self-assured, and all of that energy spills into your relationships in a powerful way. You're no longer trying to get love, you're sharing love. That changes everything. It shifts the dynamic from neediness to abundance, from scarcity to overflow, and men are drawn to that. So when you hear the advice, live your life, it's not about pretending not to care. It's about genuinely investing in yourself. It's about waking up with purpose, nurturing your passions, and honoring your individuality. It's about understanding that love isn't the destination. It's a beautiful part of the journey. And when your life is full, the love you attract will be full too. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all figured out. But when you make your life about more than just a man, you become the kind of woman who's unforgettable. The kind who doesn't need to chase, because she's the one worth chasing. And when a man sees that, he won't want to just be part of your day. He'll want to be part of your future. That's how you get chased. Not just once, but forever.
Leading with standards, not attitudes, is one of the most underrated yet powerful ways a woman can command respect and long-term pursuit from a man. See, it's easy to confuse being strong with being aggressive, or being confident with being confrontational. But the real strength lies in calm, quiet certainty. It's not in yelling, threatening, or trying to prove your worth. It's in knowing your value so clearly that you don't have to raise your voice to make someone feel it. Standards are about what you allow, what you tolerate, and what you walk away from. They are the silent rules that define your life. And when you live by them consistently, you don't have to force anyone to treat you well. They'll know they either meet them or lose access. Attitude often comes from frustration. When a woman has been disappointed, lied to, manipulated, or undervalued, it's natural to develop a defensive edge. But here's the thing, when you meet a new man, that attitude doesn't protect you. It pushes him away. It tells him you're still healing, still guarded, and still holding on to past wounds. But when you replace that attitude with standards, you're saying, I've been through pain, but I've learned from it. I don't need to test you, manipulate you, or control you. I just need to observe. If your actions align with what I require, you'll have access. If not, I'll move on without drama. That level of maturity is deeply attractive. Standards don't require explanation or justification. You don't need to explain why you won't accept last-minute plans. You don't have to justify why you need consistency or emotional maturity. You simply express what you expect, and you stick to it. A woman with standards doesn't waver when her feelings get involved. She doesn't lower the bar just because she's attracted to someone or because they've given her attention. She understands that true connection only grows in an environment of mutual respect and emotional safety, and anything less is not worth her energy. The beauty of leading with standards is that it allows you to remain peaceful. You don't need to argue with a man who disrespects your boundaries. You just remove yourself. You don't need to teach a grown man how to treat you. You simply show him by what you allow. And the ones who truly want to be in your life, they will step up. They'll recognize that you're not a woman who's here to play games or waste time. They'll realize that earning your presence takes consistency, honesty, and real effort. What's important to understand is that men notice the difference. They know when a woman is leading with a reactive attitude versus grounded standards. A woman who leads with attitude might be fiery, but eventually that burns out. It becomes exhausting to maintain. But a woman who leads with standards brings peace. She doesn't force connection. She lets it unfold. She doesn't try to make someone stay. She creates space for someone to choose to stay. That difference is everything. Having standards also means being okay with walking away. It's not about issuing ultimatums or threatening to leave to get your way. It's about knowing deeply that you'd rather be alone than in a situation that dishonors your values. And that unshakable self-respect is what keeps a man chasing. Because men want to know that you're with them because you choose them, not because you need them. They want to feel like they've earned your trust, your time, and your heart, not that it was given away too quickly. When you lead with standards, you also inspire a man to bring his best self forward. He understands he can't show up sloppy, inconsistent, or dishonest and still keep your interest. He knows that your presence in his life is a reflection of how well he's treating you. And that level of accountability turns casual attraction into serious pursuit. It's no longer about chasing you just to win you. It's about working to keep you, because he knows someone else will recognize your value if he doesn't. So never be afraid to stand in your standards. Don't water yourself down for the sake of keeping someone. Don't hide your expectations to seem more likable or easygoing. A man who's truly ready for something real will not be intimidated by your standards. He'll be challenged and inspired by them. He'll see them not as walls, but as doorways to something meaningful. And that's how you create not just chemistry, but deep connection. That's how you make a man chase you, not just in the beginning, but for a lifetime. Being comfortable being alone is one of the most powerful mindsets a woman can have. It shifts the entire dynamic of how you approach love, relationships, and your own identity. When you truly enjoy your own company and aren't afraid of solitude, you no longer operate from a place of lack. You're not looking for someone to complete you, save you, or validate your worth. Instead, you're approaching life from a place of fullness, knowing that anyone who enters your space should only add to what already exists, not become the reason for your happiness. Many people fear loneliness so much that they accept relationships that are beneath them. They entertain people who drain them, settle for situations that lack depth, and stay in cycles that steal their peace, all just to avoid being alone. But when you make peace with solitude, you gain clarity. You begin to see people for who they are, not who you need them to be. You don't chase attention because you're not starved for it. You don't settle because you've learned how to enjoy life without relying on someone else to bring you joy.
A woman who is comfortable being alone is not cold or emotionless. She simply understands her value. She understands that time alone is not a punishment, but a gift, a time to grow, to heal, to build, and to reflect. She uses her solitude wisely. She invests in herself. She becomes her own best friend. And in doing so, she becomes deeply attractive because independence is rare and confidence that doesn't rely on others is magnetic. Men notice this kind of woman. They notice that she's not checking her phone every 5 minutes hoping for a message. She's not constantly needing reassurance or validation. She's calm, secure, and collected. She's content with her life, and that makes a man curious. It makes him want to understand her world, earn her trust, and figure out how to become a part of something that doesn't revolve around him. This kind of energy makes a man chase not out of ego, but out of admiration. Because he sees that you don't need him to function, you choose to include him. Being okay with being alone also helps you filter who's right for you. When you're not desperate to fill a void, you can actually be selective. You can say no to what doesn't serve you. You can wait for the kind of love that aligns with your values. You don't stay in toxic situations just because you're afraid of the silence after. You welcome the silence. You use it to reset, to listen to your inner voice, and to keep moving forward with clarity. Another powerful effect of being comfortable alone is the freedom it gives you. You begin to build a life that excites you. You travel, you grow, you learn, you thrive. Your world becomes filled with things that bring you joy outside of any romantic relationship. And when someone comes along, they're not stepping into an empty life, they're stepping into a beautiful, vibrant one. That's where the chase begins. That's where real desire is sparked. Because now they're not just trying to win your heart, they're trying to fit into a life that's already complete. A woman who loves her own company also has strong boundaries. She doesn't tolerate disrespect because she's not afraid to walk away. She's not clinging to any man for identity or purpose. If he adds peace, love, and support, she welcomes him. If he adds confusion, chaos, or inconsistency, she removes him. There's no fear in that choice because her wholeness doesn't depend on his presence. This mindset is not about rejecting love or acting like you don't care. It's about raising the standard of what kind of love you allow. It's about understanding that the right relationship won't cost your peace or your dignity. And until it arrives, you're perfectly okay standing alone. Because you've already created a life so rich and full that anyone who enters it must bring value or risk being left behind. When a man sees a woman who is content, who doesn't beg, who doesn't chase, who doesn't fear walking away, he realizes that he can't play games with her. He realizes that he has to offer something real, something consistent, something worthy. And when he does, it won't be because you demanded it. It'll be because your self-respect inspired it. That's the kind of woman who gets chased, not just for the thrill, but for the chance to be part of something rare. Because real strength, real beauty, and real love begin with being perfectly okay on your own.